Alright, so since Lewis didn't do it earlier when he was supposed to, we're going to introduce this as his 66 Nova Race Show build episode. This is episode 1. There's no nudity, unfortunately. But yeah, we got this sweet 66 Nova, and I'm going to go over the cool shit we're going to do with it. But Lewis has to run and get some parts first, and you guys can go with him and then come back and see me.
What's up, guys? Lot of stuff has happened the past couple months. Basically, I blew the motor of my Pro Mod, and one of the cars that I idolized, the 66 Nova that used to run a Pro 275, came up for sale, and it was at a great price. And I already had a 66 Nova that I was going to build next year, or for next year, but it wasn't as done as this one. Basically, mine needed a lot of work. I decided to sell my 66 and the Pro Mod Firebird Trans Am in a matter of a couple months. And I just came back literally a few hours ago from South Carolina to pick up the silver 66 Nova that you guys will see in a little bit. The goal with that is to get that done in 2.5 months. Brad ordered a bunch of parts already. He's already cracking on it. So the car's super light, which you'll see Fleck actually pick up the car with by himself. So the car's gonna fly. So luckily I kept the drivetrain from my 69 Nova, El Patron, the LS 388 Turbo 400, 2-speed Turbo 400, and all my Ollie stuff is going to be going in that car. So this thing's going to fly. So I can't wait to test it out in a couple of months. We'll see what happens. We're at S&W Race Cars, so we're already picking up a mid plate for it, so Brad can sit the motor in. So I'm sure you'll get to see the inside and see what they got. Serrano, I know you think you're fast because you're going 5.0s. I get it. It's your first time. I get it.
Saturday morning, me and my boy Freeman, we're on our way to the shop, work on Lewis's Nova. We're gonna finish up that motor plate today. All right, as promised, we're here at the shop this morning. It's Saturday. We are gonna work on Lewis's Nova some more and get this thing, basically my plan today is to get the motor placed and final bolted. Well, I don't want to say final bolted, but bolted in so we can start doing some of the fab work for the turbo for next week. Our schedule is kind of tight with getting this car done, and that's one of our biggest things is getting this thing situated so that we have the you know, our timetable correct. Freeman's here today to help with the assist. He's wearing his denim bow tie. What do you think there, bud? But yeah, so today what we're gonna work on is this motor plate setup. I was taking some B-roll yesterday of me welding the mid plate up. So here's a mid plate here on the table. I gotta finish cutting it. And we're gonna cut the front motor plate today as well and get that set the way we need to with some new stuff there. And then go over this while we're here. So yesterday we got a bunch of parts in that we had ordered. Lewis spent quite a bit of money over the past, like, you know, well, really spent a lot of money on the past week with buying the car and then also the parts he needed to get the thing rolling. So yeah, first things first here, we have our big order we got from Motion Raceworks. So that came with a new Icon throttle body here. This guy's pretty sweet. It has a bolt pattern on the front of it, and this jobber here, I'm trying to get the part numbers in here so you guys can see them, but this guy here, it bolts up to the front of it, and we have a V-band on it. Now you may be asking yourself, why don't you use Wiggins clamps? I'll tell you right now, I fucking hate them. Wiggins clamps, Alpha Lock, all those ones. I can't tell you how many people I have come into the shop that have put them on and they leak. I've used them before and had them not leak, you know, but they're so finicky with like being able to pull them apart, put them back together, like all that kind of stuff, and getting them lined up. If the alignment is off just a little bit with them, they leak. Like no matter what, they fucking leak. When you got a setup like this that's trying to make, you know, 40, 45 pounds of boost, you know, somewhere around there. Like we were told this motor can go up to 50 pounds of boost. We're gonna try and run all that kind of boost. That's a lot of pressure in those tubes. I would much rather have the old school V-band clamp that I can tighten the fuck out of it, has a gasket in between, and it's able to do it. To give you an example, you know, you guys have seen some footage of Mike's car in the past. He's got the twin turbo 540 big block that I built, and this turbo kit, when I assembled it, I did everything in V-band. You can see here, everything is the old school stainless steel V-bands with O-ring gaskets. I can tell you right now, I have boost leak tested this thing up to 60 pounds, 80 pounds, somewhere around there, and there's no leaks whatsoever. Now we got quite a bit of clamps on this. You got the two on the front of the turbo, you got the two here on the Y pipe, you got the one after the Y pipe, you got the one here going through the chassis, you got one inside there to go into the intercooler, you got the one from the intercooler to the throttle body. So there's tons of places for this thing to have a leak. It doesn't have any because we have these awesome heavy duty stainless steel V-band clamps. And it's one of those things, like, as you can tell, I get a little fired up about this because I can't tell you how many people I get on the dyno and they're like, oh, I want to make X amount of pounds of boost, and we get them on the dyno and the fucking shit's leaking. So that being said, this is the way I like to do it. I do it a certain way because of years of experience doing this shit. I'm sure everybody else has another way they like to do it. I don't really give a fuck. This is the way we do it, and this is what I have success with. So next thing here is we got these awesome new wastegate flanges from Motion. These jobbers here, we're able to weld them right on. They're like coped, so they'll actually go right onto the tube. And basically our plan here is we're gonna have 90s coming out. So on the 90, the wastegate's gonna go right like that. Be pretty sweet. And we'll be able to have this nice clean fitment. It'll look awesome and we'll be ready to go. One of the other things we got, it wasn't from Motion, we got direct from Shear Fabrications, is this T6 flange that has, it's a CNC merged with 3-inch inlets. So Lewis's old setup was 2.5-inch hot side. We are now doing 3-inch hot side. Much better for the amount of power he's looking to make. We'll be able to flow a lot more than we were before. So next thing you see sitting here is a drive shaft wheel speed sensor. What this does, this bolts on the yoke. You have the sensor here that picks up the reluctor. There we go. We got the Maven mount for the turbo sitting here. This came from Motion as well. This guy, I don't even have it unboxed yet, but basically bolts on the bottom of the turbo, and you're able to use basically a piece of DOM and go into the side of it and mount the fucker up. That way you don't have any issues there with it vibrating around or anything like that. Second thing here, or yeah, second thing. The next thing here is this really nice valley cover for this setup. Oh, I just noticed there's no O-rings here for it. Hopefully there's some somewhere. But this is a valley cover for this setup that Lewis got here. And what this guy is going to do is clean up. So when you look at the motor here, this is kind of old and ugly. So we got this one. This thing comes two ways. And so do I sometimes. But basically, this guy goes on top of here, so you can run the standard oil pressure sensor adapter, or you can run a regular 100 PSI sensor adapter. Nucky over here. So I put everything in the car. You can hear me over the music. I don't know what it's like. 1847. All right. Well, pretty crazy here. So I set the turbo up front. That's about how we're gonna have it sit. Obviously not on that angle, but about where we're gonna have it. And then motor's placed about where I want it. I gotta make the front motor plate. The rear motor plate's there. We're gonna have to make a little shroud to go up and around it. And I got the transmission placed the way I want it. Right now we made a little extender plate for the transmission cross member, and we're sitting the way we want to sit. So nothing in the car other than motor, trans, and you know what we got now. We're at 1847. What I also did was we're gonna run a 5-gallon cell. Well, there's our 5-gallon fuel cell, and there is basically 6 gallons of water. I don't even know if we're gonna run that much water, but 6 gallons of water. This is a little ridiculous. This car is a lot lighter than I thought it was gonna be. I thought we were gonna sit somewhere like 25, 2600. I'm sure we're gonna be closer to that than I'm at right now, but it's pretty light. You know, we don't have like a whole, like the doors are like a paper chip. You know, they're nothing. Like they weigh nothing. The front end doesn't weigh anything. It probably weighs maybe 30, 40 pounds. You know, there's obviously some stuff that needs to go in here yet. We don't have any fluids in the motor and the trans. The brake master cylinder isn't in there. And the steering column's not in there. So that stuff will add some weight. Obviously, seat's gonna add some weight, battery's gonna add some weight, stuff like that. But, you know, it's not like we're gonna be adding. With me sitting in it, it weighs 2,000 pounds. It's 2,040. I don't see us going and adding another, even for us to add another 500 pounds, I'd be really, really surprised. I know we're gonna add some weight with the exhaust stuff, but like still, I'd be really surprised if we had another 500 pounds, to be honest with you. I might kick myself in the fucking nuts for saying that, you know, whatever. Sometimes I like to, you know, kind of think about how much, you know, we're gonna end up adding on and stuff like that here. But, you know, I would be really, really surprised if we end up at 2,500 pounds, all said and done. You know, I'm really interested to see where we end up here, because this is pretty nuts how light we are already. So, yeah, let's see what happens. What is it? Huh? What is it? What time is it for you? Time to go home? Time to go home? All right, guys, so getting finished up here for today. It's getting a little warm in here, and I don't really feel like working too much today when it gets like a sauna in here. But made some good progress. I got a couple things I gotta grab hardware-wise for us, but we got the front motor plate in. I trimmed a shit ton of material off of it to kind of make it a little nicer. I probably could have done, you know, a little bit different of the way I cut it, but I was trying to follow some of the lines that was already there. But we got the plate in there. We did our weighing earlier. I recorded that. You know, just trying to get this thing wrapped up as far as placement goes. One of the things I'm gonna have to do is here in the back, I mentioned this earlier. I'll turn my light on so you can see it better. You can see we're about 2 inches forward from the frame there where it would bolt up. There's a hole right there that bolt comes through. So what I'm gonna have to do is actually make a filler panel there to close that area up, so that it doesn't, you know, let fumes, you know, all that kind of stuff from basically in the engine area into the cabin. Now these cars are pretty contained to begin with, you know, like they're pretty open. When I say contained, I meant they're pretty open from containment to begin with. Like the trans is literally sitting right there. Like there's not anything around it for you. So, you know, you're pretty much open to the elements no matter what anyways. But that being said, you know, I like to try and close stuff off the best you can so you don't get too much air, too much, you know, other stuff flowing in through there on you. So, you know, we're gonna do something there with closing that up. And then, you know, I'm gonna start the turbo kit stuff here, probably going into Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm really happy with how far I got today. You know, I was assuming I was gonna have to do some fabrication work with the trans cross member. I was actually able to do something that was able to work with what was there and get us where we needed to be. So it was actually pretty quick and simple. I was able to, that's what I was making on the Plaz table earlier. When you guys saw me doing that, I'm actually gonna walk over here and turn it off. But you guys saw me earlier, I, you know, cut a plate out on the Plaz table
and that was actually for the trans cross member. So now I don't have to worry about either making a new one or cutting the old one or anything like that. I'll have to do a little bit of welding on it, but not a big deal. I'm not terribly worried about that. So yeah, good progress for today. We at least got the motor set. I know what our balance is for the most part. I'm where I want to be. I'd like a little bit more nose weight from where we're at, but we have some ways to make that happen. I also don't have some key items in yet, but we're close. A couple things I want to do, and then you know, we'll head on down the road of getting this thing you know, hopefully running here. I'd like to really, and middle of September, end of September, I'd like to have it running. You know, we have a schedule in my office, and you know, I'd like to really be testing this for the month of October before we go to World Cup finals. So you know, thanks to the guys over at Motion Raceworks. We got our order really quick and fast from them. Yeah, quick and fast, man, I'm using just double adjectives there. But yeah, we got our order really quick from them. Great parts from them. The guys over at Shear Fabrication, they had that flange to me next day when I ordered it. You know, I know they're close to us, but still, you know, with processing the order, everything, I didn't expect to have it next day. So I'm able to get my ball rolling here on some of our fab work a little bit quicker. I also have an order coming in on Monday for all of our sensors and stuff from Low Dollar Motorsports. So like really, you know, we're able to start tackling some of this stuff pretty quickly here with getting this thing, you know, together. So a lot of work ahead of us, but you know, we're making some progress. At least we're able to get the parts we need pretty readily, you know, and we're able to kind of go from there and, you know, get our car situated here. So yeah, that's about it for this one. I think this is probably going to be the wrap for this episode.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.